23 minutes past 8 is the time. Tributes are being paid to the legendary frontman and co-founder of the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, who has died at the age of 82.
Let's look at some of the comments that have been made. Elton John amongst those who said he was a musical genius and a revolutionary. Nancy Sinatra said the songwriter's music will live forever. Let's have a look at some of his work.
Play hard and strong all the way. 85, good vibration.
I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitations.
Inside, outside, you Ventura County line. Inside, outside, you Santa Cruz and inside, outside, you Caribbean. Inside, outside, you all over Manhattan. Outside, you and down Doheny Way. Inside, outside, everybody's got surfing, surfing USA.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it, and God only knows what I'd be without you.
Well, let's speak now to the broadcaster Bob Harris, who interviewed Brian Wilson several times. Morning to you, Bob. That song was just at the end of that little compilation, God Only Knows. What a beautiful song. I think a lot of people will be listening back to that song today by way of tribute.
It's gorgeous, Charlie, isn't it? I love that song. I love the Beach Boys' music, and their impact, as we've heard, was absolutely enormous. I mean, I think they were to America what the Beatles were to Britain. You know, they were America's Beatles, and there was some friendly rivalry between Brian Wilson and Paul McCartney. I mean, this album, here it is, look, Pet Sounds, was the inspiration for the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper, because when Paul heard this record, he was so inspired by it, he felt that he wanted the Beatles to emulate it and create something even more spectacular. And that's when that friendly rivalry began. It's a beautiful record, and you're absolutely right. God Only Knows is one of the great songs.
Yeah, Bob, so there's so many elements to this, isn't there? One is the you know, how lovely the music was and the technology that was behind it. And then Brian Wilson himself, who I know you met, and people maybe are learning more about him today as they're reading about his life and the troubles he had along the way, which were significant and really affected what he could contribute to the world of music in terms of his performance, live performances, for example.
Yes. I mean, it was an amazing thing. I recorded the Beach Boys story for Radio 1 in 1974. So I spent pretty nearly a month with my producer, Jeff Griffin, in Los Angeles, talking to the Beach Boys, and everybody connected with them. And I spoke to the head of Capitol Records, which was their label at the time, who described Brian as having changed the face of American music for the next 30 years. And that weight of expectation, I think, was a lot for him. He found it very, very difficult in his own mind to kind of live up to the way other people had seen him. And he took to his room, famously, for about 3 or 4 years. And actually, Jeff and I were amazed and privileged to meet him just for a few minutes in 1974 at his house in Bel Air with his wife, Marilyn. And it was 2 years later that we actually recorded another interview with him, a proper interview for the Old Grey Whistle Test. And that's on the BBC Archive Instagram, actually, so people can watch it.
I think people start putting some stuff on Sounds as well, BBC Sounds, and we can listen to a lot of the interviews as well, Bob. Morning, it's Naga.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Naga.
Hello, Naga.
Hello. They had so many great hits and so many wonderful kind of sounds. What was the defining, or what were the defining songs that marked kind of changes in their direction, changes in what they were exploring in terms of songwriting?
The main one was Good Vibrations in 1966. It was so revolutionary in its construction. Brian Wilson was a massive fan of Phil Spector, and when you listen to the percussion sounds on Pet Sounds, you can hear that influence. But Good Vibrations was a song which Brian had been working on in the studio literally for weeks and months. The rest of the band had gone off touring, and Brian had built up Good Vibrations in 3 little sections. And when the band came back into town, he got them into the studio to record the vocals on it. But he was the brainchild of that sound at that point. But I have to say also, in the early 70s, when Brian had taken a bit more of a back seat, Carl Wilson took over production reins for a little while, and he produced an album called Surf's Up, which was absolutely gorgeous. That was in 1971. And you got all the harmonies and the beautiful production sounds. So the Beach Boys as a unit were very special, but it was Brian that was the creative genius behind them.
I think Charlie's right. I think there will be a lot of people today, myself included, who will be looking back in the archives, and also kind of playing some old albums of the Beach Boys and just reminiscing and enjoying what we had the pleasure of being given. Bob, it's always a joy talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Naga.
Take care.
Thank
Bob
you.
Harris there.
Let's see, time now is 8:29, Morning Live, following us on BBC One this morning.
Let's find out what's in store. Rav and Gabby are there. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Well, beautiful music that you just shared as well. Thank you so much for that from Bob as well. Coming up, a fresh warning as